Speaking of gay marriage, do you think marriage as we have it, or even if we get gay marriage or civil union, it'll be accommodating enough to include the diversity of relationships that can come about? So, for example, what if two gay men want to have a lesbian in the family who will be the mother of their child, and they all three want to raise a child together? Can we have such different, diverse relationships and families within the gay marriage structure that's being proposed?
To be honest, I'm not sure because I'm not a huge supporter of marriage in general. I tend to think it's a somewhat outdated institution that was based on who would get land way back when. And we've just sort of kept it around because everybody else did it, so why not? And I feel like there's gonna have to be a change, even in gay marriage, because while that's, so radical, it's two people of the same sex, I feel like in terms of non-traditional families that are even more non-traditional than gay marriage, it's not going to be enough in terms of legal rights and in terms of defining relationships between people.
I think that gay marriage, civil union, whatever you want to call it, however we're defining this, the only thing that the GSM community is after are rights. You know, I want the right to be at the deathbed of my partner in a hospital. I want the right to benefits that I am entitled to because I've been with my partner for so long. I want the right to share money with my partner. You know, that these things are really important, and I think it's hard to say that this is a sacred institution when you have people who are getting married for citizenship or just because it's economical at the time. You know, there are lots of stories of heterosexual couples who decide to get married because it's more economical, not because of love. I think that things are going to have to change when it comes to adoption, but I think that it should be one step at a time. I think this is going to be something that's going to evolve really slowly, just like it has been in the past. Family structures are changing, but they've always changed, I think. And adoption is a big issue, especially when it comes to what type of family you want to have. There's open adoption and closed adoption, if your state allows it. There are a few states that do ban same-sex couples from adopting children. So there are a lot of things that we're going to have to look a lot deeper into once we look at this whole issue of gay marriage civil union.
Well, I suppose we're closing on the end of our episode. We're running out of time gradually. So on a final note, we sort of have to address the giant pink elephant in the room, metaphorically speaking, which would be the fact that on campus we have one of the nation's busiest Chick-fil-A's. And what is the GSA's official stance or comment on that, and what are your personal responses to that?
Well, officially, I think that this is something the GSA has to handle very delicately. We have spoken to different officials around campus regarding the statements made by the leader of Chick-fil-A. And, you know, it's important for people to understand that it's not only his comments that a lot of people are upset about, but also the contributions that Chick-fil-A makes to anti-gay campaign or anti-same-sex marriage campaigns. For now, you know, the Gay Straight Alliance of Georgia Southern is looking into this to see how we can mend our relationship with the GSA and Chick-fil-A. I think that it's not something that we can really talk about a lot at this point just because we're not really sure how to go about handling it ourselves. But any of you like to comment about how you feel about it personally?
Yes, I very much would like to. Personally, I find, number one, that the media explosion over it kind of hilarious, because I've known about this for about, a year now, way before.
It's been
It's
on,
been
it's
public
been on
knowledge.
public record for so long.
Same thing here.
And to be honest, if Mr. Cathy wants to donate out of his own personal funds, I don't care. That's his personal money. I find it somewhat despicable that he's using his company's own funds to donate to these organizations, because I feel like not everybody in the company likes that. I mean, there was one Chick-fil-A that responded in New Jersey by sponsoring the Gay Pride Parade there. I think, really, in terms of the Chick-fil-A on campus, I feel like they would be supportive if we asked them to be supportive.
Yeah, and then also the Chick-fil-A here on campus actually donated food for the Rainbow Rave we had last month. No, it was at the end of August. Yeah, they donated a couple of trays of food that actually were well received by the people who were there, because they disappeared, like all the food disappeared pretty fast. Just saying. Personally, to me, the whole as they put it, the whole Chick-fil-A controversy, like, oh, this is like super new and yeah, no one knew about it. Personally, I was just like, this is old news. Sure, I don't agree with Mr. Cathy at all. And we should also keep in mind that some people work for Chick-fil-A because there's nothing else that they can do. Like, that's the only thing they can find. I know some really nice people who work at Chick-fil-A. Heck, I know gay people who work at Chick-fil-A. At the end of the day, to me, it's just food. And by showing up and being all angry at, like, individual restaurants, it's kind of nonsensical, because these people who work at these restaurants, not all of them are like, oh, we totally agree with Mr. Cathy, and your people shouldn't be allowed to get married. Heck, we don't even want y'all in our restaurant. Like, it's kind of like saying we don't like your kind here, when not everyone is like that. And the fact that it blew up, I was just like, I hate to say this, but situations like this make me believe that people are just easy. They're easy to corrupt, they're easy to just, they all like hop on this bandwagon, which actually the wagon has been at the station for like years now. It's just that no one ever realized it was there. And sure, I'm glad that it got brought up into the media, but it was like, this is old. It seems pretty ludicrous to me how everyone was like, oh, this is completely new. It's kind of like, no, it wasn't.
How did you feel, I guess, when, was it Mike Huckabee that announced Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day, where it was the day that everyone who supported Chick-fil-A's stance on gay marriage was supposed to come out and support the stores, and it was recorded as the busiest one day that any Chick-fil-A that has ever experienced, because of the number of people that came out to support their supposed stance on gay marriage? What was your reaction to that?
That was so dumb.
I know someone who went to one of those events.
I know several people who went to those events.
Basically, I feel like people thought that the GSM community was saying, they can't be a Christian organization. No, I'm fine with being a Christian organization, as long as it actually practices what it preaches in terms of loving everybody. That would be wonderful if they did that. But Mr. Cathy has decided to not do that, and that kind of sucks. And so I feel like that was a bunch of people who didn't actually really know what the issue was, responding to what they thought it was.
I thought it was entertaining how, to counteract Customer Appreciation Day, there was like basically the event where a bunch of people from the GSM community and supporters showed up to their local Chick-fil-A's and like kissed at Chick-fil-A. In fact, I saw a video on YouTube a few weeks ago of two straight cisgendered males totally kissing at their local Chick-fil-A. And I was just like, all right.
Now, since that day, Chick-fil-A, not exactly stepping away from their previous statements, but they have announced that they've stopped funding some of the organizations they were previously funding that were supporting anti-gay initiatives in response to actually taking a hit in business since Mr. Cathy's original statements, or since it was brought to everyone's attention. Do you guys see that as, I guess, a success for the community, that after the initial, pop of supporters for Chick-fil-A's stance, that they took a serious step back from the issues because it was hurting them economically?
I feel like it's a victory, but it just feels weird that the reason behind it was economic and not, hey, we're going to do the right thing. But I feel like that's how it's going to be for a lot of businesses or anybody that supports anti-gay stances or anti-GSM stances. I feel like it's going to have to be something that affects them economically before they will step back, because it's America. We're capitalists, and, well, a lot of us are. And so I feel like it's going to have to be monetary for change to happen in some of these cases. So it's a victory, but it just feels kind of meh.
Kind of hollow that they said.
It's kind of a hollow victory, yeah.
Personally, I feel like it's disappointing for someone with such power and such wealth, who prides himself on customer service, training those who are in the customer service field. There are many organizations that go to Chick-fil-A management training because they are some of the top leaders of trainers. To come out and publicly say something against another group of people, it's fine. Everyone has the right to speech, to freedom of speech. But I feel like, do we always need to use it? It's important to speak on what you believe. And maybe that's what Mr. Cathy was doing. But as far as a victory goes, I don't think that it'll be a victory until I can stand in front of Mr. Cathy and he can shake my hand and tell me, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad that I got to share this life with you.
Well, this has been Speak Up on 91.9 The Buzz. And in closing, I would like to thank our guests, representatives from the GSA of GSU, the GSA's Vice President, Corey Dennis, the GSA's historian, Karsten Hendricks, and the GSA's treasurer, Skippy Washington. Thank you, and please have a good day.
The voices that won't be televised will be heard on the radio.
So now it's your time to speak up.